We'll turn attention now to developments in the Niger Delta. Well, you do know that there's a truce that has been called, and Khalil Oritsemeyiwa joins us now. He's a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Well, about this truce declared, such that they could have time to negotiate and get things sorted out. Well, we've got different perspectives on this. Well, something that, look, they're not exactly sure if that will eventually happen. And how do they get to speak to those Avengers? Have they now identified them? Will there really be developments coming in? Will this be a permanent ceasefire? And it just keeps going on. You're also keeping tabs on this. What do you think of the ceasefire so far?
Yeah, I want to say very good thank you for bringing me on Channels Television to talk on the problems facing the Niger Delta region. Firstly, I'll be speaking, one, as an Ishekiri man, secondly, as a Niger Deltan, and thirdly, as a Nigerian. You agree with me that our area, Niger Delta, has actually been underdeveloped for a whole long time. And be that as it may, we have been trying to put some things together from our region, to bring development to our people. But involving criminals like the Niger Delta Avengers, personally, I want to call them criminals because their activities has actually been criminal-minded activities. One, they have actually been bombing or blowing oil installations in our region. Like most of the destruction that has taken place in the Delta region has taken place around Warri Southwest, Warri North, predominantly occupied by the Shekiri people. But a few of the jaws are there too, Now, they blew some time ago in DB Field, Escravos. These people in these areas, majority of them are fishermen, predominantly, okay? So when you blow oil installations, why the people around that place are fishermen, what do you expect them to do? Because obviously, we're going to have spill. And spill affects aquatic life.
What would you have the authorities do then?
Okay. What I want to do, I want the authorities to do is now, because before I answer your question, these people around that area have actually been a burden to us. The Niger Delta Avengers come and blow up pipelines and just walk out. Why the people that are resident in that areas can no longer fish? Because most people in the city depend on fish coming from these areas, to run their everyday business. So now what we now do is send relief materials to these people in those areas. Obviously, it has become a problem to us. But on a second thought, if we want to, say, negotiate with these people, it's crystal clear you don't negotiate with criminals. Because if you negotiate with them, you are giving room for other militant forces to rise up. Because Ishekiris are peace-loving people, and these things have been happening in our area. Ijos have, our brothers Ijos, they have Patani as a local government to themselves, they have Burutu as a local government to themselves, and they have Bumadi as a local government to themselves. These things are not happening in these areas, but it has actually been taking place in our areas. Obviously, it is sending a wrong message to the people because we are peace-loving people. If you keep blowing up oil installations in our region, our area, obviously, you want hostilities. But because most of these people, these criminal NDAs, they have so much weapons. They've been able to gather so much weapons for themselves. We as Shekiri people, we can no longer fight.
Have you attempted to reach out to them? Because they look like they live in the Niger Delta as well. Have you attempted to reach out to them or people that might know them to say, hey, sheath your sword?
This is a very dicey situation, attempting to reach out to criminals, it's out of proportion because we don't know these people. Personally, we don't know. Most of our people don't know them. But if somebody is trying to shy away from corruption in the name of you sold a property belonging to certain persons to government at a very huge sum of money, if you like what the people say or what the government is saying, corruption will definitely fight back. If you have sold a land, I'll get to your question. If you have sold a land, belonging to a particular set of people, because I have a document here, this is a gazette. As of 1980, there was nothing called Okenrekuku. in the Niger Delta area. You know, the Gazette establishing those areas, the area is called Omadino, belonging to the Shekiri people. Do you understand where I'm coming from? You know, so
Can you just pause a bit?
All right.
Before this gazetted document,
yeah,
there have been agitations in the Niger Delta over and over. Besides the ethnic agitations,
yeah.
Now these agitations against the federal institutions for exploitation, oil exploration, and what you say, the resources are taken out and there's no development in the Niger Delta. The different agitators have come. There are those who say they are former agitators,
yes.
and there's those who are agitating now. You say you don't know the members of the NDA, but you know some former agitators. Have you been able, what efforts have you made to reach out to them to say, sheath the swords, let's see how things will work out? I mean, before even the truce came up.
Okay. Yeah, former agitators, you know, previously the government of Yaradua had granted amnesty to militants, you know, to shun militancy, criminality in our region. You know, but coming again to take up arms, you know, it's like you're sabotaging the government. You know, so say we know these people. Of course, the corruption, like I said, is fighting back. You know, if you...
Why are you tying this to corruption fighting back? That is where I don't seem to understand.
Okay, let me come like this. If I say corruption is fighting back, it's very glaring because when someone was declared wanted by the EFCC, right, prior to that time, nothing like NDA was heard of. But the moment they declared somebody wanted for fraudulent activities, NDA just sprang up from nowhere. You know, so it is very glaring that some persons in our area...
You're speculating here, and you really can't situate your point properly. So I think speculations, is that the thinking of your people?
It is the thinking of Nigerians, not just my people.
Nigerians?
Yes. Let me come like this. Why I say Nigerians? Most importantly, people from my region, you know. The Jaws are not the only people in the Niger Delta region, right? We have Isokos, we have Robos, we have Benis, you know. The Auchis, they're all from Niger Delta region. But like I said, if you have a case, because prior to this moment, nothing of such happened, because these people have been granted amnesty. So where is NDA coming from?
It does appear that from your submission that your main grouse is that the Jaws seem to be overshadowing this whole thing and that it should not just be about them.
Yeah, because, yes, why I said that is this, because the criminality is being vented in our areas. You know, you cannot come to my house and bomb pipeline. It won't happen to you. If you come to my house and blow pipeline, you cause me environmental degradation, you know, and you cause me a lot of unholy things.
But
you know, so why bear the brunt?
But does tribalizing it necessarily provide the solution to the problem?
Obviously, I was going to get there. You know, it is a known fact that we have suffered in the hands of some of these people. If you take your mind back, we had Warri crisis. You know, our villages were burned down. Our people were driven out of their village. A lot of people were killed, you know. And now, most of our communities are desolate. People don't live there anymore. So, because some people now they've increased their armories to vent their anger at every point in time on our people. You have to get where I'm coming from. If they were bombing Bomadi, blowing up pipelines in Brutu, it wouldn't be my business.
Don't you think it's an indictment on the youth and community leaders in your area? One would have thought that you would have been able to provide some form of protection. I know that there are CDCs, CLOs, community liaison officers, in almost all the communities in the Niger Delta where we have oil installations. So can't the community protect some of their installations? So it would seem as if what we see in Burutu, Bomadi, and other parts in the Niger Delta, specifically in Delta State, the youth in those other areas have been doing a pretty good job in protecting such facilities.
That's Suleiman. Protection of government installations, that's exactly what you're talking about, right? Oil pipeline facilities, they belong to the federal government. So who protects them? The youth in the area. The government has a job to either equip the youths in the locality, engage them in the protection of pipeline, you know, the federal government installation, so that constant or external aggressors wouldn't come and just come and bomb the pipeline.
So what
like
do you see? What do you see physically? Do you see physical security from the federal government around such installations?
In the riverine areas, you talked of CLO, right? In the riverine area, you can barely see a police post in those areas. We don't have police posts. You have military checkpoints in those riverine areas. So how do you now equip the people? When you equip them, because I can vividly say that during the last administration, most of these people were equipped, to protect pipelines, and they used those opportunities to gather a lot of weapons for themselves. So if things don't go their way, they now vent their angers on the vulnerable people in their areas.
And you're still saying government should equip the youth in these areas to protect, so that another group would arise again that have been given equipment to protect themselves, as you're saying?
What I just said is, if we have military personnel around these areas, quote me, like we don't have, in the whole of Borodo, Escravos region, in the whole of DB Field, Warri North area, we don't have, there's nothing like a police station around those areas. So the criminality is bound, is bound to be on the increase.
Sorry to cut you. Has there been any kind of, letter to the Inspector General of Police office asking for police posts? Because you have your own leaders there. I'm talking about the elders. You're a member of the youth group there. Has there been a formal letter asking for police posts or units in those areas?
Yes. If you're navigating to Escravos, for example, you get to a point, you see a very tiny military presence, like a small houseboat. You see some security men, but where these things are, where the people live, where the people live, those things are not present there, So it is easy for criminality to thrive.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back and take a further look at how do we then solve this. Join us again.